Hey everyone, I'm back. We are on chapter number 5, rewriting the program of Mind Games of Rodeo. If for some reason you just popped in right here, we have gone through the first 4 chapters, and I would recommend that you go back if you haven't heard them yet, because this won't make any sense to you unless you go back and get the first part. So what I'm doing here is reading to you a little bit from my book, Mind Games of Rodeo. There are all kinds of books out there about the inner game of something or other, but there's really nothing out there about rodeo. And as we all know, there is definitely a mind game to rodeo, just like any other sport. All right, plus we have a few other minds thrown in there, animals. But anyway, we're just talking about your mind today, and I am going to talk about rewriting the program. The last video we talked about the program and how it is written and what it means to us to have that program written, because our program is controlling everything that we do, absolutely everything that we do. It's essential that you understand how your program is written so that you can rewrite your program for what you want. You get to have what you want in life. You get to decide what your results are. And it's so exciting to me that there is a way, a very specific way that you can rewrite your own program. So I'm going to start with this in rewriting your program. So the subconscious mind, I point to it down here, is the controlling mechanism that creates the action. Remember that infant mind that had no conscious mind? It is being programmed through a series of repetition. What happens, though, when the baby starts to think for themselves? Remember, the program controls, or the paradigm, controls the action that controls the results. So as that baby matures, somewhere around the age of 5, thoughts begin to come in and be filtered. That is where the conscious mind is. The beginning of that is developed. They will begin to think thoughts that agree or are in harmony with their paradigm or belief, because the belief system, the paradigm, it doesn't want to change. That's where chaos comes in. We'll talk about that a little bit farther. But they let things in. They start to accept ideas. They go to school and they say, oh, yeah, I'll believe that idea. My mom told me all this time that I'm great at my letters. So they go to kindergarten and they're great at their letters because their mom has been programming them with that information the whole time. So when they get in there and the teacher says, hey, you're really great with letters, they say, I know, I already have that program set in my mind. Okay, so let's go back to the mental master. Most days we walk around with the same ideas about ourselves, and everything within is in agreement. The ideas are in agreement with our paradigm. Everything's just kind of working together. We believe something. Let's call that the X-type idea. Our actions and our results follow right along with that idea, and everything in our world is in harmony. It's copacetic. It's working well together. There's no need for chaos there. So the weird thing is that we might not like the idea that we believe, but it's just what we know and what we are comfortable with. And so we carry on as is. We might not like what our program is telling us about ourselves, but it's comfortable. That's just what we know. So that's what we keep doing. Warning. This X-type conditioning can be a prison. I know this from very clear experience. It is pure habit. If we stay in this X-type, that same type thought process, we will never experience any kind of change or growth. It's prison. We're locked into that same thought process. And because we're locked into the same thought process, our actions are also the same actions that are in agreement with that thought process. However, we know that we can control what goes into our conscious mind. So we can change the paradigm. We can change that thought process, that feeling, into who or what we want to be. But you must take a risk and throw in a new idea. It's not going to be easy, and there will be conflict within, but the results are phenomenal. Trust me, it's going to feel a little bit crazy when you put in a different idea. For example, if a student goes in and says that and thinks that they are bad with letters, let's say, they go into kindergarten and they just, for some reason or another, they think that they're bad with letters. So they go into kindergarten and their teacher says, you can be really good at letters. And they say, no, I can't. My programming says that I am bad with letters. That's how it's going to be. When they get a new idea in there, then it's in conflict with their paradigm, with their belief system, and so they don't quite know how to handle that, and that feels uncomfortable to them. Even though it's maybe they want to be good at letters, but they're uncomfortable with that thought because that's not what they know. That's not their program. That's not their paradigm. It will not be easy, and there will be conflict within, but the results are phenomenal. I've seen it many, many times. So having an X-type idea and our belief system is in harmony with that, so it's also an X-type belief, then our body reacts in X-type ways. So if we have that same idea all the way through, then everything's in harmony and it's not a problem. There's no problem with our belief. There's no chaotic feeling. If the student went to kindergarten and the kindergarten teacher said, you're really not very good with letters, are you? You'd be like, nope, I'm not. That's who I am. Hopefully that wouldn't happen. But that would be okay with them because that's what he knows. Okay. The kicker is when you get the why idea in there. And that's when that weird new something takes over. And that's when it starts to get, wait a minute, that's not what I understand. That's not what I believe. So if somebody says to you, you know what, you are a really great barrel racer, but you believe that you're not a great barrel racer. You'd be like, no, I'm not. You'll even tell them, no, I'm really not. But they're like, no, really, you're great at this. You're a great writer. Nope, I'm not. Because they believe that very strongly to be true. It's part of their program, part of their paradigm. But listen, if you believe that you're a bad barrel racer, you're in prison. The greatest risk is to risk nothing, is to not step out on a new belief. Well, maybe I am a good barrel racer. Maybe I should start thinking that way and see what happens. If you never take that risk, how are you ever going to know? It's going to be a little weird if that new idea is something that you don't believe in. Of course it's going to be weird. But if you don't take the risk, you're never going to know. The person who risks nothing does nothing and has nothing. You may avoid suffering and sorrow, but you simply cannot learn, feel, change, grow, live, or love changed by those certitudes. You will be a slave to your comfort zone. A slave to your comfort zone. Only the person who risks is truly free. We may think we are taking a risk by entertaining a new idea in our conscious mind, but at any moment that idea can be thrown out by the current paradigm. It is not until that idea is solidified in the subconscious mind by adding that emotion, feeling that, giving it excitement, do we begin to see a change in behavior and results. So I like to think of this as the Mucinex method. Remember those commercials where the person was so sick and congested? You could see the misery and the congestion just set into the poor person, and they're talking like, this is terrible. And in the commercial, the little green globs of mucus come, have their suitcases in hand, and they come moving in to take over permanently. Well, that's what happens with your negative thoughts. They move in there and they take over, and they're going to fight against anything that might try to crowd them out. Those negative thoughts take over your mind. But never fear, Mucinex is always here. So Mucinex is always there to get rid of those little green globs and save the day in the commercial. So the medicine, the Mucinex, is just like a river of positive thoughts, drowning out the negativity and replacing it with positivity. So all that yucky negativity is in the subconscious mind. But when you start flooding it with the medicine, with the Mucinex, it changes the entire paradigm. It changes the entire program. There's a little battle that goes on within. Sometimes it's a big battle within. But the Mucinex will win, just like those positive thoughts. And I'm not just talking about you can just feel positive or say positive things and magic happens. You have to believe it. You have to add emotion to the positivity. Simple thinking positive is not a remedy for the sickness of negativity. That's just not going to happen. That's just not it. You have to add that emotion and that feeling to that. So you have to add emotion to your new belief. All right. We have already established that your thoughts control your beliefs. Yep. And your beliefs control your actions. Yep. And your actions control your results. So change the thoughts by repeating the outcome you want over and over and over. You can do this through daily affirmations and visualization. This is key. This is how you rewrite your program. Because remember, you can control what goes in here. Even if your subconscious mind is flooded and full of negative thoughts, you can reprogram that by flooding and filling in all of the positive thoughts. So whatever you feed is going to grow. If you feed a positive attitude, if you feed beliefs that are positive for you, then that is what's going to happen for you. Feed your mind with positive thoughts and thoughts of success. Remember, the potential, remember out there, is infinite in possibility. You just have to tap into it. And you cannot tap into it if you are flooded with thoughts of negativity, or if you're just on that 25-watt bulb and you want to get to the 1,000-watt bulb, you have to change the bulb. And you do that through repetition of thought. Remember that? Okay, so here's the thing though. I like to use this illustration. It's not in the book, but let's pretend that you have 2 cups. One is a cup of clear water and one is a cup of coffee. And the coffee represents negativity or the things that you do not want. And the clear water represents positivity or the things that you do want. Okay, so if you were to take a teaspoon out of the coffee and put it into the clear water, what would happen to that water immediately? Right, that little tiny teaspoon of negativity that you dump into the cup of positivity automatically, instantly makes it clouded, murky. It affects it immediately. Okay, now let's flip it. If you have the same 2 cups and you take a teaspoon of the water, the positivity, the thing that you want, a teaspoon of it, and you put it into the coffee, what happens to the coffee? Nothing. The coffee takes a swimming pool full of water in order to dilute it enough to make it into clear, positive thoughts. A tiny teaspoon of negativity can dilute a full cup of positivity. Yet it takes a swimming pool full of positivity to affect negativity. You have to repeat and affirm and visualize every day the thing that you want. You cannot put any of the thing that you don't want in there. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later also. But so whatever you feed, that's what will grow. If you feed weeds, they grow. If you feed the flowers or the plants that you want, they grow. You get to decide what you're going to feed. That's the changing of the light bulb. That's the action that you take. Okay, so an affirmation is something that you tell yourself, a thought that you affirm to yourself daily, sometimes hundreds of times daily. I like to recommend that people put them on 3x5 cards, put them on your mirror, put them like in your bathroom, in your truck if you're driving, everywhere. Put them everywhere so that you can see these things over and over and over, because we got to have a swimming pool full of the thing that we want. Okay, all right. So an idea or a possible affirmation could be, for instance, if you want to beat your fast time, then set a daily affirmation that instills in your mind the ability to do just that. For instance, I will beat my fastest time by how many ever seconds you want. So you write that on your card and you say that out loud to yourself many, many, many times a day, if that's what you want to do. And you notice I said will. I didn't say can, because of course you can. We have infinite potential. I will. You're going to do this thing. You're affirming the thing that you want. I will do that thing. Okay? Here's another one. If you are lacking confidence, set a daily affirmation that tells you how amazing you are, because you are amazing. And we're going to talk about that also in a little bit. You could say, I am an amazing person that others enjoy being around, and I will achieve my goals with ease. I like that. If you have anxiety, set an affirmation for calming. Now, you don't say, I'm going to get rid of my anxiety. Why? Because that's focusing on the negative thing that you don't want. We don't want to say what we don't want. I think I just contradicted myself there. Anyway, you want to say what you do want. So you would say, with every breath I release the anxiety within me, and I become more and more calm. I become more and more calm. And by the way, calmness is scientifically proven to do better for athletes than getting all amped up. That's a whole other thing. All right. I know it seems really weird to stand somewhere and tell yourself how great you are and you can do it, but that is only because that's how you're programmed. You feel like you're conceited or that you're saying that you're better than somebody else. It's not what we're doing here. We are told we should not be conceited or think too highly of ourselves our whole lives. Because you are programmed by the world to think you are not worthy of success, you have to push back. It's not your program. You have to push back against that negative paradigm that wants you to remain in that comfort zone of, well, I'm really not good enough. It is absolutely necessary to fill your mind with thoughts of success that will overtake the self-doubt. Remember, swimming pool of the things that you want. Does it work? Yeah. I have example after example that say, yes, absolutely. But let me tell you about Kay. Kay is a young lady that I coach on her mental game of rodeo. When I started working with Kay, she had a mental model that said that she tied goats at about 11 seconds and ran poles no faster than 21 seconds. And that was what she consistently did at every rodeo. There was one girl in particular that she believed she just could not be faster than. I met with Kay and explained to her the potential that was out there for her to win. Remember that infinite potential? I helped her become aware that the possibilities were far greater than she had allowed for herself. She was fighting it herself. I had her spend the next week repeating a few affirmations out loud at least once a day. They were, I am an amazing person. I will be first place in polls. I will plug into the potential, and I will tie goats smoothly and quickly in 9 seconds. Let me remind you that she was stuck on the 11-second goat run and the second place always in polls. That was her programming. She's like, I always get second place in polls. She changed absolutely nothing in her game except telling herself these things every day. That's it. The next rodeo, she was confident and made a beautiful pole run at just a bit under 20 seconds. She won first place, and her 11-second goat run turned into a smoking 9.1-second run. She was 13. All she did was tell herself she would, and added the emotion of faith and belief. Try it. I can't make you believe me, but you try it. You try what I'm telling you and decide for yourself if you believe that affirmations really work. So remember, we learn things through repetition, no matter if they're good or bad things. You can also learn bad things by repeating them to yourself. In the beginning, it might seem difficult, but it gets so much easier as time goes on. It might be a little weird at first, but it gets so much easier. Most things are difficult at first, but if we stick with it, call that persistence, make the decision first to do it. You must decide first, and then stick with it with persistence. We get better and better as that thought, as that new program is internalized. Just as a little bit of statistics here, to establish a habit in the first place, it takes at least 350 repetitions. So that's like just barely learning something. But to replace old information with new, or to relearn something, it takes 3,500 repetitions. About 100 times a day for 35 days. Maybe 150 times a day for fewer days. 21 days, somewhere in there. So here's the deal. You have the power to control your thoughts, and your thoughts become things. So you know that you have to pour in a swimming pool full of the thing that you want in order to drown out the thing that you don't want. So affirm, use those affirmations, get the picture of the thing, visualization, the picture of the thing that you really want. Affirm the good in your life to change your current paradigm and ultimately change your current results. It changes through repetition. So repeat, 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 repeat. All right, so big question for you. In the Think It Through section, it says, I am so excited that I realize that I have the power to change my own results. I'm going to start right away with these 3 daily affirmations. So write 3 affirmations that apply in your life. What do you want to change? What thoughts do you want to change? Who do you want to become? Okay, write those. You can use the examples that I gave. Change them up a little bit if you want to, that's fine. And then the next chapter, chapter 6, is dealing with your BS. You got it, I got it, we all got it. We all have BS. So we're gonna deal with it, change it if we need to, fix it up if we need to, and that is chapter 6. So thank you all for joining me this far, and I'm so excited to get all your emails about how this is working in your life. It's Tenney 2016@gmail.com. So have a great day and rewrite your program. Might as well make it what you want it to be. Have an awesome affirming